Dear friends, welcome at this World Goodwill meditation webinar managed from Geneva. Today we are the 25th of February and my name is Mintse van der Velde. The title of this webinar is Dissonances in Harmony, Peace Building at Rondina Cittadella della Pace. We are happy to have a special guest, Ursula Raab, who is a long-time co-worker of the Fondazione Etica Vivente in Italy. This short introduction on World Goodwill will be followed by a World Goodwill meditation. Thereafter, Ursula will present the Rondina Cittadella Pace Association, and for the discussion you can put your questions in the chat, or at the discussion time you can raise your hand and we will give you the floor. I will keep my introduction short so that we will have enough time for the meditation and the presentation of Ursula. The Goodwill Meditation Group is a worldwide group of people who link up each Wednesday at noon to meditate on goodwill. The group aims to stimulate and strengthen the goodwill that is expressed by humanity as a whole. This webinar meets the last Wednesday of each month and provides a platform for individuals to come together to use the Goodwill meditation and to discuss our common work. In this introduction, I want to focus a bit on leadership and education. When we think about leadership, we often think about world leaders or political leaders, or perhaps our heroes from sports, arts, culture, or philosophy. That might be a pretext telling us that leadership is out of reach for us. That means you or me. But then two quotes from the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, come to mind. The first one: "You are never too young to lead, and you should never doubt your capacity to triumph where others have not." And the second quote: "Education is, quite simply, peace building by another name. It is the most effective form of defense spending there is." End of quote. Before I continue my thoughts about leadership and education, let us quiet our minds up a bit and link with the group in sounding the mantra of the new group of world servers. May the power of the one life pour through the group of all true servers. May the love of the one soul characterize the lives of all who seek to aid the great ones. May we fulfill our part in the one work through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. Leaders can and should be on all levels of our societies: international, national, local, in our communities, in our families, or in our work environment. Leadership is not self-assertion but self-forgetful service. The leader is one who responds to group need and acts as a conscious agent of goodwill. Leadership requires intuitive perception of purpose, and meditation as a scientific method of aligning the lower mind with the higher insight is key to this. The leader acts not from an impulse or ideology, but from a reflective responsiveness to deeper values. What qualities would characterize a true leader? One of the first qualities is that of a vision. upon the strength of the vision and the beauty of the picture which a leader paints with his imagination will depend much that he will do. Does he know what are the goals ahead? Will he be strong enough to hold steady to his purpose and true to his objective? The second quality is the development of a right sense of proportion. This, when truly developed and correctly applied, will enable a leader to walk humbly on the way. No true leader can be anything but humble, for he realizes the magnitude of his task. He appreciates the limitations of his contribution in the light of his vision and the need for constant self-development and the cultivation of the spirit of steady learning, if he is ever to make his proper contribution. In our polarized world of today, where we tend to go to one extreme or another, a right sense of proportion is very needed. We help others through our own effort to attain such a right sense of proportion. This means clear thinking, humility, and constant adjustment. A third quality is the development of the spirit of synthesis. This enables a leader to include all within the range of his influence, and also to be included within the range of influence of those greater than himself. These last two qualities are not so obvious in our modern world, where social media push many to a cult of personality or ego. Another quality, which in reality grows out of the former three, is the avoidance of the spirit of criticism. Criticism leads to barriers and loss of time. There is a distinction between the spirit of criticism and the ability to analyze and make practical application of the analysis. This again is not obvious in a world where polarization is so strong and widespread that common sense often is lost out of sight. How about education, and more in particular education for leadership? From the perspective of goodwill, such education would be a function of consciousness, service, and alignment with spiritual purpose. Education for leadership is therefore not merely the cultivation of skills, but the systematic development of the whole human being, mental, emotional, ethical and spiritual, so that the individual may serve the evolutionary good of humanity. Education ought to cultivate awareness of humanity as an interconnected organism. This cannot be stressed enough in a modern world where individualism, competition and me first seem to dominate. The shift from individualism to group responsibility marks the transition from personality leadership to soul leadership. This is not yet reflected in the majority of current world leaders. I mentioned earlier Kofi Annan. The Kofi Annan Foundation is here hosted in Geneva, and this foundation promotes training in leadership skills for young people. The executive director, Corinne Momal-Vanyan, wrote in an article on youth participation in decision making that about 40% of the world population is under 25 years of age. Many government bodies talk about youth and youth participation, and in the best case even listen to youth, but simply do not include them in the process of decision making. A pointing case is the United Nations themselves, where only 3% of the staff is 30 years or younger. And for many governments, similar figures will hold. Our world of today is facing multiple crises at the same time. Climate change, geopolitical tensions, a continuing widening gap between rich and poor, a renewed military-industrial complex, etc., etc. Plus the challenges of artificial intelligence, internet communication and fake news. From an abstract point of view, we might say, well, this is the shift from Piscean to Aquarian energies, which will be accompanied by the destruction of the Piscean forms to give space to the construction of the new Aquarian forms. The old generation will strongly stick to the old values. Hence, the importance of new leaders with the previously described qualities, coupled with a long-range vision for the future. There are plenty of schools and institutions where young people are trained to develop new ideas, use their imagination, and thus contribute to the formulation of the ideas that will govern the new age. With the rapid change that is going on in all departments of society, the question is, will these new and young leaders have enough impact to make a significant change in time? From an Aquarian perspective, the authoritarian model is considered obsolete. The coming type of leader is described as a coordinator, mediator and illuminator of vision. Goodwill plays a central role in all departments of life. As our daily news is so often saturated with all kinds of hectic and noisy information, I would like the opportunity to remind you of a few issues of our World Goodwill newsletter. The 23 issue number 1 has the title Global Conflict and the Road to Right Relationship, which incites the creative thought and inspires right action in a spirit of goodwill. And the 2024 issue number 1 is about thinking the future into existence and highlights a number of NGOs working in the spirit of goodwill. The 2025 issue number 2 is about hope as a spiritual potency, whereas the last issue, which is the first of this year 2026, is about the spiritual dimension of a nation, where the concept of the soul of a nation is explored. You can find these issues, of course, on our website of World Goodwill. Well, with these introductory thoughts on education and peace, let us now go into our goodwill meditation together. Link up in thought with all those people throughout the world who are working with this goodwill meditation group. Reflect upon the fact of relationship. You are related to your family, your community, nation, the world of nations, and to the one humanity made up of all races and nations. Then we use the mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring you a reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. In stage 2, we reflect upon our own and humanity's relationship with all beings who dwell in the higher realms of mind and heart, the spiritual hierarchy of saints, rishis, bodhisattvas and masters, honored by all the world's religions and spiritual groups. Imagine that you are standing together within the center of the spiritual hierarchy, immersed in the consciousness of the heart of love. For some, this heart of love is known as the Christ. Other faiths have other names for the one at the center, such as Maitreya, the Imam Mahdi, and the Kalki avatar. Maintaining that high point of contact, let your thoughts reach out to include all members of the human family in whom the energy of goodwill is active. Then we use the affirmation. In the center of all love I stand. From that center I, the soul, will outward move. From that center I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the Divine Self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. In stage 3, we visualize the energy of love flowing from the hierarchy through the men and women of goodwill and into the hearts and minds of all people, infusing them with goodwill and creating loving and harmonious human relationships. Then we meditate on ways of spreading goodwill, creating right human relationships, and restoring peace on earth. realize that you are helping build a channel between the spiritual hierarchy and humanity, through which the energy of goodwill may flow, uniting humanity, solving its problems, and healing all cleavages. Linked in thought with men and women of goodwill all over the world, we say the adapted Great Invocation. Say it with deliberation and full commitment to its meaning, knowing that we are radiating its potent energies to humanity. The Great Invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you. Now it is a pleasure to introduce Ursula Raab. Ursula has been dedicated to developing the goals of the Community of Living Ethics, which is now headed by the Fondazione Etica Vivente, for over 20 years. She found there her profound purpose. Her fields of work are art and astrosophy. During her career in real estate financing, she has completed various self-training courses at the Foundation of Ethical Living. Creative meditation course, School of Group Focusers, Schools of Spiritual Economy, Schools of Esoteric Astrology, Human Types course, etc. And other institutions, that means the Institute of Psychosynthesis in Basel. She is the treasurer and secretary of the steering committee of the Foundation of Ethical Living. And she coordinates and focuses the School of Astrosophy and cooperates with the Communities India initiative. Ursula, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mins. Thank you also to World Goodwill to invite me for the seminar of this evening. Hello to all of you who are listening. I am delighted to speak to you this evening, or maybe for some one of you it's morning, about the peace project Rondine Cittadella della Pace, Dissonances in Harmony. I will share now my presentation. Just a second. I hope you can see it. So before entering the project itself, I would like to share some thoughts about dissonance. When we speak about dissonance in music, we describe at a very easy level two notes that resist one another. Two notes or two vibrations in friction. They create an unstable situation, a situation of tension. Tension which, when we hear it, we would like to resolve. In musical harmony, dissonance cannot be dissolved by force. True solution comes through movement. So when we speak about two notes, one note may shift to even only a small half tone lower, and the second note adapts, and harmony is built, harmony or consonance. So the two notes find a path toward consonance, not by erasing difference, but by responding to it. Experience this process, and I imagine you all experienced it, and we all experience it when we listen to music, gives a feeling of coming home. The most moving musical compositions are the ones that risk instability through dissonance in order to evolve towards something richer, towards a higher level of vibration. This we can also translate to human life. When we have dissonances, this can be clearly at many levels. This is a call to move, to evolve for reaching a higher level of consciousness and a higher harmony. So, and by speaking about this process, we step exactly in what Rondine, Cittadella della Pace, Citadel of Peace, is doing. Rondine means in English swallow, and is the name of a medieval hamlet located in Tuscany, north of Arezzo, surrounded by a natural, beautiful reserve. The Rondine Castle is placed in the middle and was constructed around 1020. And interesting enough, in 1503, Leonardo da Vinci came to that place, and he was so excited about the landscape that he used it as background for the famous painting Mona Lisa. Later, the hamlet was abandoned and ruined until in 1976, the restructuring and rebuilding started. Rondine, Citadel of Peace, was founded in 1998 by Franco Vaccari. He is, as per today, still the president of that no-profit association. Franco Vaccari is a very magnetic and powerful person. He was born in Arezzo in 1952 and is a psychologist. From his early age engaged in Catholic and social activism. Already as a student, he taught young people how to use dialogue, confrontation, and openness to different religious paradigms. In 1988, he followed a very important mission, building a communication channel with the Soviet Union. So he brought a peace message related to St. Francis of Assisi to Moscow, meeting there Raisa Gorbachev, then the president of the Soviet Fund for Culture. In the following years, a fruitful relationship with Russia was built that led then in 1997 to have an exchange also with Russian students in Rondine to educate them about leadership in war-torn countries. And after that experience, Franco Vaccari decided to found Rondine Cittadella della Pace in 1988. This association and its activity is sustained by the United Nations, by the European Union, by the Italian government, and many, many foreign and national institutions. Here we read a quote of Vaccari said in 2024, "The relationship is established through encounters between people who, motivated by the confidence to accept each other in their concrete differences, recognize the positivity of being in conflict." So all is about right relationship. Let us now have a look at the vision of Rondine, which is committed to living, developing, and spreading, starting from the village. No, sorry, I'm reading now the mission already. Rondine aims to build a culture of global peace, where every person is able to transform conflicts into human development. Through dialogue, respect, and mutual acceptance, Rondine intends to promote authentic relationships and a change in mentality that prevents or repair forms of violence, hatred, and fear of difference, and positively regenerate society and global policies, valuing differences as a resource. So this now translates in the following mission. Rondine is committed to living, developing, and spreading, starting from the village, an innovative method for the creative transformation of conflicts. The Rondine method, which focuses on relationships and trust. Through daily life experiences, education, training, and research, Rondine prepares generations of new leaders, capable of promoting dialogue, peaceful coexistence, and international cooperation, helping to reduce armed and social conflicts and generating a positive impact on global society. So now let us look how this translates in concrete life of the Rondine project. The Rondine method is built on 5 foundational principles. The first is, the enemy is not the person. The real enemy is a relationship. So this method reframes the concept of enemy. An enemy is not inherently evil. The label is produced by conflict narratives and collective trauma. So the goal is to deconstruct enemy images with which the young people come to Rondine, preserve identity, and open space for human encounter. The second principle is conflict is not eliminated, it is transformed. And there we have the same as we have also in music, coming from dissonance to harmony. So the method does not aim to suppress conflict. Conflict is seen as natural, inevitable, potentially creative. The key is transforming destructive conflict into constructive conflict. The third principle, identity is preserved, not diluted. So this means participants are never asked to renounce their culture, neither deny their nation or abandon political positions. Instead, they learn, hold their identity firmly, but recognize at the same time the humanity of the other. This avoids also a superficial reconciliation. Principle number 4, personal responsibility. Participants are encouraged to reflect critically on their inherited narratives. In fact, we know that in all countries we have narratives regarding the so-called enemy or other countries. And it's very important to, in this work in Rondine, to critically review such stories. And also to take responsibility for their role in perpetuating conflict narratives. So the last principle, number 5, is experience before theory. In fact, the method is experiential. It is based on living together, shared daily life, have continuous dialogues, and structured reflection. So transformation happens through lived relationship, not lectures. How does it work concretely? Rondine invites every 2 years approximately 26 to 30 young students from countries in war. So there have to be always pairs of one person of a country which is in war with a second person. So for example, one student comes from Israel, the other from Palestine, one from Russia, the other from Ukraine. And they live together for 2 years. They have the possibility to continue their studies in Italy. They have to share the apartments and participate in structured dialogue sessions. They have a lot of group work, and there are clearly many trained psychologists and other staff of Grondine assisting in this process. There are, how can I go ahead? There are 3 phases in this work. The first one is deconstruction of enemy images. This is what I already mentioned. They experience cognitive dissonance when meeting the enemy face to face. And so the key tools are storytelling. They tell their stories. And they have the right really to touch on everything they can relate to and build their narratives. They have a meditated dialogue, guided reflections, and conflict workshops. The second phase is the crisis and internal conflict. When they meet each other and they hear also the story of the other person, it's easy to come into a crisis and an internal conflict because they experience a loyalty conflict with their own country, with their home community, because they start changing something regarding their narrative and their vision of the enemy. And this stage is very crucial. There they have to be accompanied and so that a deep transformation can occur. The third phase is reconstruction and leadership building. So they integrate in that phase complexity by maintaining their identity while humanizing the other. They develop leadership skills and they commit to become peace leaders in their home countries. So they are really taught to get also a role when they move back. There is an important long-term impact out of this work. The graduates often become civil society leaders, diplomats, NGO founders, educators, or policy advisors. There's in fact a wide transnational alumni network that continues the dialogues with the students also beyond the program. Here you see an organizational chart where at the center is the World House. This is the place where the 2 years peace work at Rondine takes place. Then during the years of existence, Rondine developed a lot of other programs which accompany, for example, in high school students in Italy, but also abroad, in order to teach there also conflict and peace solutions. There is a training of trainers, training school for educators, a business school. And one very important initiative is the Leaders for Peace, which was born in 2018 on the occasion of the 17th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was an open call Rondine launched to 193 UN member states and other nations. And they invited to provide for the training of new global leaders. And Rondine itself committed to train 200 leaders in different countries over 10 years. So they also invited to donate a scholarship to train new global leaders. So this initiative is ongoing. Then Dissonances in Harmony is also a project. This is also the title of my speech, but it's a project where the students of the World House go during the 2 years out in a type of event with an orchestra. And accompanied by music, they tell their stories. And I went several times to those events, and it's extremely deeply touching to listen to how they arrived and how they transformed. So now I wish to show you a short video where students themselves are speaking, so that you can really get a better feeling of what this peace building initiative of Rondine is like. So I go out of my presentation in order to share the video. It's with subtitles in English, spoken in Italian.
Il mio paese non c'era una paura così grande, c'era odio, ma non c'era la paura.
Avevo tanti dubbi prima di venire, perché la vita a casa è sempre la vita a casa.
Io volevo sapere di più,
e ho deciso di venire.
Erano sempre indiani, hanno fatto tutto questo, sempre gli indiani che hanno cominciato la guerra, anche i libri dicevano così.
Prima di venire a Rondine ho scherzato con i miei genitori, ho detto, ma sapete che forse c'è un israeliano che vive da noi?
Non può essere che la colpa è solo loro e noi non abbiamo fatto niente proprio.
Non per la pace, per me stessa, perché per arrivare alla pace ci vuole davvero tantissimo tempo e volevo provare se ce la faccio io.
Stai attento, non vai, basta, non si discuta questa cosa. Ho detto no, ma sto scherzando, dai, questo ragazzo non c'è.
Lo spettacolo che facciamo è un'altra sfida, forse più grande che facciamo qua, perché una cosa è parlare tra di noi dei nostri dolori, è un'altra cosa raccontare di questo dolore a qualcun altro.
È l'unico modo di raccontare, perché anche quando noi siamo qui a Rondine non parliamo dei nostri sentimenti, cioè scopriamo le nostre storie proprio preparandoci a quello spettacolo, diciamo. È molto interessante sapere cosa veramente abbiamo vissuto noi.
Se io racconto del mio dolore, il mio dolore diventa più piccolo e così più persone lo sentono, meno rimane a me. Può essere così, non lo so, ma almeno mi piacerebbe pensare così.
Quando dico, quando ti ho conosciuto non ho voluto stringerti la mano e quando ti ho salutato per l'ultimo ho scelto di abbracciarti. È una frase vera e qui veramente mi sono sorpresa, com'è possibile?
Questo spettacolo non è spettacolo in realtà, è un urlo da dentro di ognuno di noi.
Noi proviamo a cambiare anche il loro punto di vista del conflitto in generale.
Non è spettacolo perché non ci sono gli attori, si gioca con le persone vive.
Dire che facendo le mie testimonianze io cambio i pensieri di tutti quelli che ci sono, non ci credo sinceramente, ma uno o due se arriva e basta.
Salire sul palco e raccontare della cosa che ti fa male non è un spettacolo, non è una cosa con quale si gioca.
Ogni anno, se una testimonianza cambierà 2 pensieri, 3 pensieri, cioè, noi vedremo i nostri frutti fra qualche anno, 10 anni, 20, forse io non lo vedrò, ma sono sicura che noi stiamo cambiando la storia.
Io credo che abbiamo mosso gli affetti, non solo le convinzioni teoriche. Io sento che questi ragazzi non hanno pace finché non si abbracceranno fisicamente. Credo che abbiamo immesso nel tessuto di quei popoli dei semi piccolissimi ma che hanno una forza formidabile. Penso di vedere la pace prima di morire.
Here, my friends, I'll stand for you. Make it strict for pretense. I'm here to say a word or two. The never love man innocence. Spilling lots on faith without a start. Now I won't live in illusion. There's not much chance that things will change on the weekend. All this natural, all this free, like feeling you and you love.
So at the end, I want to touch on what also Minze mentioned in the beginning in his speech, soul leadership. And I wish to link with what Roberto Assagioli wrote in his book, The Transpersonal Development. He underlines that real peace can be found only when we are able to live stably in our own inner spiritual center. It is then a dynamic and creative peace from where we face all activities and dissonances in life. It works through awareness of the eternal reality in us, as an illumining mantra states. There is a peace that transcends all understanding. It dwells in the heart of those who live in eternity. And now a mantra which relates to right human relationship. And I feel it very helpful on our path towards this goal. May every being with whom I come into contact today be blessed, now and always. I have no barriers or preferences, no privileged objects or walls of separation. I walk the path and everything is one to me. Thank you very much for your participation.
Well, I have to put on my video, yes. Thank you so much, Ursula. I think this was a really inspiring presentation. This project is really marvelous and it gives many things to think through and to talk about. I just saw just one thing in the chat and I had the same question. It's very simple. How can people make a donation to this project?
Yeah, I think on the website there is also a donate button and there are all the coordinates, the information for that. Now I don't have it, I didn't take it.
But don't worry, if people can
Yeah.
go to the website, they will
Yes,
find it
exactly.
out. I think the website is also a very good resource to learn more about this project.
Exactly. It's called Rondine Cittadella della Pace, the website.
Yes, so somebody put it already in the.
It's
in the chat.
rondine.org. Yes, exactly. I
Yes,
see it.
it's in the
Great,
chat
thank you.
Great. So I don't know if anybody wants to raise his or her hand just before we close. We are getting a bit at the end of our session, but it was so inspiring. I would just suggest not only to send young people to that city, to Rondine, but even older leaders. It would be very beautiful to have them going into the process. And another thing which I wanted to share is really that it is impressive that these people are in that process themselves and in that whole event, but then to share again in these musical presentations, to share it with other people, it's really admiring. There's a lot of courage to do that and to share it. And as they said themselves, this is planting seeds which will do their work. Really an excellent project. So thank you very much. I see we have one hand of Wendy. Let's take Wendy, and I don't know whether I can unmute you. And then I'm afraid Wendy, can you unmute? I'm not sure. Yes, there you are.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ursula. That was as Mint said, inspiring and so refreshing. In particular, because there's so much pessimism about achieving peace. And so it seems like it's the unattainable. And this evening you've made it something that can be attainable. And I love the model and the process. I can really see how that can create resonance and harmony out of conflict. And it's achievable. And it's starting with young people, which is where the focus very much needs to be, because they're so much more open, even if they have preconceived attitudes. And what I'm really was thinking all the time was, I would love to be a fly on the wall and watch the communication process going on, because those young people must be learning so much about communication. I could go on, but I'll stop there. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Wendy, for your sharing. Let's just take 1 minute for Eleni Levini, and then we will really get to a close. Levini, can you unmute? Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I want to say, I feel such a wave of gratitude listening to what you offer, Ursula. And I also feel great kinship with a certain practice I am engaged in. And to keep it short, what really arose in me so spontaneously, and it was like, oh, how to train in this process of deconstruction and synthesis, and because in this practice and in this community I am engaged in, which has to do with a discipline of authentic movement, we are looking at the possibilities of holding the opposites and then what we seem to be opposites, and then finding this meeting place through a deconstructive process. And so, and owning, taking in and metabolizing and really finding the place that transcends the opposition and is a new synthesis, which is also a depth psychological process. So here's my question. I saw in the diagram training the trainers, and and I know I went to the website right away and here, but I kind of wanted to ask you directly. Is there a process where, and that connects with what Minza was saying, like about older people. I'm in my older age right now, so.
I think there is a process when you touch training for trainers, also for older people, but invitations to the World House, to the core initiative, are usually to young people. And probably also because they are more open, no? Than people who are older in those countries. This is at least the strategy of Rondine. I know that there are also places regarding other structures for older people, but I'm not informed concretely in what this is consists exactly.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you so much, Ursula, for this very, very inspiring talk. Thank all of you for being here together with us at this World Goodwill webinar. And I think we are now getting to a close. So once again, thank you very, very much. And we will have just a few announcements of coming events which will be there. Thanks once again.